There's a moment, a single breath where everything can change forever. Picture this, a young man standing at the edge of a river, water rushing below, ready to let go of everything. But what brought him here? What breaks a human spirit so completely that the world becomes unbearable? This isn't just another story about failure. This is about the invisible weights we carry, the silent battles no one sees, and the unexpected hand that reaches through the darkness just when we need it most. What happened next? Well, it changed everything. In a town where noise meant life and silence meant weakness, there lived a family that seemed ordinary from the outside. A merchant, his wife, and two boys who couldn't have been more different if they'd tried. The younger one, he was all fire and charm, the kind of kid who could sell sand in a desert. But his older brother, he was different. Not in a bad way, just different. See, some people are born with their voices turned up to the world. Others have theirs turned inward, and that's where this boy lived, in the quiet spaces between words, in the long pauses that made people uncomfortable. He wasn't stupid, not even close, but in a world that measures worth by volume, his whispers got mistaken for emptiness. And his father, God, his father tried. He really did. But every time he looked at his eldest son, he saw what he thought was weakness. He saw hesitation where there was thoughtfulness, fear where there was caution. And that disappointment, it hung in the air like smoke, thick and suffocating, making it harder for the boy to breathe, to speak, to be. Years passed like shadows, and that quiet boy grew into a quiet young man, still gentle, still uncertain, still trying to find his place in a world that had already decided who he was. His father, worn down by worry and frustration, finally asked him to help with the family business. It wasn't an invitation. It was more like a final test. Maybe, the father thought, maybe this will wake him up. But fear is a funny thing. It doesn't make you sharper, it makes you smaller. And this young man, already folded into himself, became even more so. Every transaction felt like walking through fire. Every customer interaction, a mountain to climb. Then came the day that broke everything wide open. His father had left town for business, trusting him maybe for the first time ever to watch over the shop. That's when they appeared. Three men, smooth-talking and confident, with stories that flowed like honey. "Your father sent us," they said. "We're here for the salt, all of it. Orders from the boss himself." And you know what? The young man knew something was wrong. Deep in his gut, he knew. But that voice inside him, the one that had been silenced for so long, couldn't fight its way out. His mouth opened, but nothing came. His mind screamed, but his body froze. And just like that, everything his father had worked for, gone, vanished into the afternoon dust. When his father returned to that empty shop, the explosion was worse than anything the young man had imagined. Not just anger that would have been easier. This was raw, unfiltered devastation mixed with fury. "You fool," the words echoed through the empty space where salt sacks used to sit. "You've destroyed us, everything I built, everything I worked for, gone because of you. Get out. Get out and don't come back. I don't ever want to see your face again." The young man stumbled into the street, his father's words following him like ghosts. Around him, the town came alive with whispers and laughter. The story spread faster than fire. The merchant's useless son, conned by thieves, too stupid to ask a single question. He walked without seeing, moved without feeling, until his feet found the river. That's always where broken people go, isn't it? To water. As if the flow might carry away what hurts. As if the current might offer an answer that life can't. Standing there, toes at the edge, the young man felt a strange calm wash over him. This is it, he thought. This is where it ends. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe I was always meant to be nothing. The water below looked almost peaceful. But sometimes the universe has other plans. A hand grabbed his collar, yanking him backward so hard they both tumbled onto the grass. A young disciple, traveling to his master's ashram, had seen the whole thing unfold. He held the young man down, both of them breathing hard. "Why?" The young man choked out, tears streaming now. "Why did you stop me? Don't you understand? I'm nothing. I'm worse than nothing. I'm a burden on everyone who's ever known me." The disciple, still catching his breath, looked him dead in the eye. "Listen to me. You get one life. One. And right now you're trying to throw it away because you failed. Brother, failure isn't the end, it's just information. It tells you what didn't work so you can figure out what will. But if you're dead, game over. No second chances, no do-overs, no discovering who you might have been." Something in those words cracked through the young man's despair. Not hope exactly, but maybe curiosity. "Come with me," the disciple said, helping him up. "I know someone who can help you see what you can't see yourself." The ashram was simply just a clearing, some small huts, and beneath an ancient tree, an old master sitting in perfect stillness. When they approached, the master opened his eyes, and it was like he could see straight through to the young man's broken core. The young man collapsed before him, all pretense gone. "I'm here because I have nowhere else to go. I'm shy, I'm weak, I'm worthless. If you can't help me, then that river back there is waiting." The master was quiet for a long moment. "Then I'll help you, but you have to trust me. 3 days, 3 tasks. Don't question them, don't debate them. Just do them. Can you manage that?" Desperate and empty, the young man nodded. "Day 1, the master said, go into town. Find 10 complete strangers. Ask them about their lives. Really listen. Write down what they tell you." For someone who could barely order food without anxiety, this was torture. But he went. The first person ignored him. The second laughed in his face. The third actually stopped and talked. And then the fourth. By sunset, he'd spoken to all 10, and something strange had happened. Some of them had become friends. Day 2 was harder. Teach 10 children about water, its importance, its uses. "Whatever you know." "I can't," he protested. "I'm not educated enough." "They don't know that," the master interrupted. "They just see a teacher. Be one." His hands shook so badly he could barely hold the chalk. His voice cracked on the first word, but he kept going. 5 uses of water, explained simply. The children listened. They asked questions. They thanked him. By the second session that afternoon, his hands had steadied. His voice had found strength. Day 3. The master's eyes were kind but firm. "Go home, face your father, ask for forgiveness." "No," the young man's voice was sharp with panic. "You don't understand. He'll never forgive me. He hates me." "Then you'll know," the master said. "But if you don't try, you'll spend your whole life running from this moment. And I won't help someone who won't help himself." The walk home was the longest of his life. Each step felt like moving through concrete, but he kept walking. When he reached the shop, his father was there, looking older somehow. Tired. "Father, I'm sorry." The words tumbled out, clumsy but true. "I failed you, I know that. But I'm asking for one more chance. Not because I deserve it, but because I finally believe I can do better." His father stared at him, and then something shifted in his eyes. Maybe he saw something different. Maybe he just saw his son, really saw him for the first time in years. "Okay," he said quietly. "Okay." Back at the ashram, the young man bowed before the master. "I did everything you asked. Now please tell me the secret. How do I become confident? How do I become strong?" The master smiled, a real smile full of warmth. "My son, you already found it. It was never about some magic word or hidden technique. Your enemy was never your shyness. It was the story you told yourself about your shyness. You believed you were weak, so you became weak. You believed you were worthless, so you acted worthless. But these past 3 days, you proved every one of those beliefs wrong. You talked to strangers, you taught children, you faced your father. The only thing that changed was your willingness to try." Tears streamed down the young man's face, but they were different now. Not tears of despair, but of understanding, of release. "The world sees what you show it," the master continued. "If you show fear, they see fear. If you show strength, they see strength. But here's the secret. You don't have to feel strong to act strong. You just have to take the next step. And then the one after that. Eventually, the acting becomes real." Years later, that same young man walked through the same town, and everything was different. He ran a successful business. He spoke with ease. He helped others find their voice. Not because he'd become someone else, but because he'd finally become himself. See, confidence isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you build brick by brick, choice by choice, scary moment by scary moment. That river still flows where it always did. But the man who once stood at its edge, he learned to swim instead. And maybe that's the real story, not about never being afraid, but about diving in anyway. Beautifully by AI narration with natural pauses and emotional depth. Ready for your video.